Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another broadcast here on Peter Mama Media on this 24th day of the month, 2023, and we are coming live from St. Paul's University. This is your university of choice, and this week we have been privileged to have two academicians from one of the most renowned universities in Africa, if not the world. I'm talking about Miss Louise Hamilton and Professor Nicole from Nelson Mandela University, who have been training the university students on matters innovation, focusing on cosmetics and what are some of the opportunities the university students can have in regards to production of cosmetic products. And I am privileged to host them for the first time, and for the first time in the airways of Kenyan broadcast. They are live from St. Paul's University. It's their first time, and I am ready to hear from them. I will start with you, Ms. Hamilton. I mean, it's first time to be in Kenya, right?
Yes, it's the first time.
Oh wow! I just want to know your feeling. How has the experience been so far?
It's been fantastic. I think the number one takeaway I've taken away is the people are so incredibly friendly and hospitable. I mean, PE, where we come from, or Gqeberha, where we come from, is known as a friendly city, but I think the people in Kenya have surpassed that. And then the other thing I see is that your driving is a bit of a scary thing.
Okay.
I'm glad I wasn't driving.
Okay.
It's different.
Someone took you from the airport?
From the airport to
okay.
St. Paul's University, from Nairobi Airport to St. Paul's University. And I must commend him. His driving was impeccable, but it's a very different driving situation to what I'm used to.
Yeah, what an experience. We'll hear more about the driving experience in South Africa. But let me just bring Dr. Vosa on this. I just want to hear your reaction as well. It's your first time to be in the country, to be in Kenya.
Yes.
I understand you people have never traveled into Africa apart from South Africa. It's your first African country as well. What is the experience like for you?
It's been a great experience. It's very different. It's been quite an eye-opener for us. Not quite what we expected. What I have found is that the people here are very friendly and very welcoming. I love the weather. So far it's been really beautiful weather. We've experienced a lovely time here at the St. Paul's University campus. It's in a beautiful area. I like all the trees around and the fact that it's sort of in the countryside. So I'm quite impressed so far with what I've seen.
Okay, well, thank you, and I will get into what transpired in the week. You were talking and training the university students on matters cosmetics when it comes to innovation, and in line to the Kenya Vision 2030. I want to start with you, Dr. Vosa, on this one. Why cosmetics? People will, come with that question. There are so many disciplines to venture in. Cosmetics is one of the lucrative businesses in the world. But somebody will ask, why cosmetics?
Okay, well, you said it just now. It's one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. It's products that people everywhere in the world use every day. So it's really a good opportunity for entrepreneurs to get into that business, because they will have a market, even though the market is already, there are big players in the market, the big companies, but there is definitely a move towards bringing in the smaller entrepreneur companies who pay more attention to their customers' needs and can maybe provide products that are more customized, and maybe bringing in some special ingredients which are locally sourced from the various countries. For example, Kenya has coffee. One can bring in some extracts from coffee into products, into cosmetic products, and other countries have other ingredients. And so there's definitely a trend for smaller companies to enter into the market, into the big cosmetic market, and there is a space for them because people are looking for good quality products, and so it is an opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Oh, okay. It's an opportunity for the entrepreneurs. I want to bring you into the discussion as well. You talked about the growth of microalgae and the benefits that they have, especially in food production.
Yes.
And this is I could say people do not have much information on that, especially in Africa. So I just want you to take this opportunity. Maybe you can share about more of microalgae. You intimated that Nakuru is one of the places in Kenya where microalgae can really thrive.
Yes.
But before we get there, maybe you can share more light on the production of microalgae in Kenya and by extension in Africa.
Okay. Yes, microalgae is a little powerhouse, we call it. So they're tiny little cells, but they have everything that you need nutritionally in them, proteins and fats and carbohydrates in them. So they are easy to grow in and don't require much space as opposed to traditional agriculture. They are incredibly nutrient intense, like I said, and rich. And in places like Kenya and in other places in Africa, but where there is a lot of light and a lot of sunlight and a lot of heat, that is what algae and most plants grow on, but particularly microalgae grow like that. So yes, you're right, they can go into food and cosmetics and medical and biofuels as well, you can also get from them. I will say that when it comes to agricultural stimulation, so biostimulants and biofertilizers, they are particularly useful, I believe. And you can in fact use byproducts of microalgae, other products, other ways you've valued microalgae, and you can use a byproduct to actually stimulate your soil to be more productive for other agricultural crops as well. Yeah,
and you mentioned the fact that there is biostimulation in microalgae. Before I come to you, Dr. Foster, on the cosmetics, because Kenya as a country, we depend heavily on agriculture.
Yes.
And the fact that you've mentioned that even microalgae products can produce biostimulants.
Yes.
I wonder how that can be. Maybe you can share more light on that. And that farmer who is watching this interview is wondering what she's wondering, and how can I then achieve to that point where I can be able now to have my own biostimulants. How is that process like?
So if you grow the algae, so if you've got your own little algae production going, which you can do, it's very easy for a layman or somebody who doesn't know a lot about science to grow microalgae. It is like farming after all. If you grow your own algae, you could then dry your algae and get a product out of it, say something like phycocyanin, which is a very highly valued product. Then the byproducts of making the phycocyanin or extracting the phycocyanin from the spirulina could be used to stimulate the soil in some way. Like for instance, it aerates the soil, or it provides nutrients for the soil. And the other thing it does is when soil is stressed, or when plants are stressed during droughts, for example,
yes.
It has biostimulant has or microalgae has phytohormones in it, which actually assist the plant to cope in times of stress. So there's many areas in which microalgae could actually assist farmers. So I'd say if you're a farmer, a small farmer for instance, you could grow algae alongside your traditional crops. You could have a valued product from it, but then use the byproducts to actually stimulate your other traditional crops at the same time. So it would be great if you could grow it in parallel. Mm-hmm. So if you're a farmer that's growing a traditional crop, grow some algae as well.
Wow, fantastic! That's great. And Doctor, talk to me about the technology. I mean, I was there. I was part of the training. I must say this at this point. We made a cream. We made a cream to apply, and I actually applied it. It looked so fresh, so nice. The odor was so good. Talk to me about the technology involved in production of this cream and some of the procedures. You intimated the fact that we can make a cream from oil and water, and maybe somebody is wondering. I mean, it's quite a puzzle to me. How does that come to happen? And maybe what are some of the technologies that are involved in production of some of these cosmetic products, like the cream and lotion that we prepared live from the school laboratory?
Okay, so so creams and lotions are products which contain oil and water, as you said, and they are called, in scientific terms, emulsions. Okay, and in order to allow water and oil to come together and to combine to make a product, we need to add an ingredient called an emulsifier. And this is a special substance which has both solubility in oil and water, and so it brings together those two phases, and it then joins them so that they will not separate, because we know that when we add oil and water they do not mix and they will separate. So an emulsion really is, if you look at it under a microscope, it is basically one phase distributed in another phase, and the phase that is distributed is in the form of very fine droplets, and the finer the droplets, the smoother the texture of the cream will be. And so by adding an emulsifier, we're bringing two liquid products together, water and oils, which are quite thin, and then we are creating a nice thick creamy emulsion, which is a cosmetic cream.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I must admit I have applied it and it was quite pleasant. And one of the elements of technology, because I believe production of the cosmetic products requires technology as well, as I saw in the presentation that I think Louise presented, was the attitude one has to have even in production. And I don't know how South Africa is in terms of motivating upcoming entrepreneurs, but I wonder what your message is to the people who maybe were in their comfort zones, who are like, yes, I have an idea, this is what I want to do, but there's a lot of processes, there's a lot of maybe lack of finances which can impede my beginning and moving forward. You shared a lot of ways to begin, and maybe what is your message to some of the entrepreneurs who are like, yes, I need to venture into cosmetic production, but I mean, you know, how do I start? How do I do this thing?
Okay.
Yes.
So my advice for entrepreneurs is to start small.
Yes.
So you can start by making products in your own kitchen using very little equipment that's very affordable. Kitchen equipment, for example, all you need is a stove for some heating. You need a pot to create a water bath for heating. Then you just need some heat-resistant containers, which can be Pyrex jugs or stainless steel containers, and then you would need something to blend the oil and the water phases together, and for that you can use a hand blender, the ones that they use to make cake batters and sauces, and so basically you can start small and you can buy cosmetic ingredients from suppliers. Here in Kenya there are a number of suppliers which we have shared with the students, where they can buy small amounts of raw materials to start off. So by using the teachings from this workshop that we gave, they can actually then try and make those creams for themselves in the kitchen and use them and evaluate them and see if they like them and start small, and once they feel confident in making these creams, they can then start making for their family, for gifts, they can make for their friends, get some feedback, and so you go along, and then eventually they're confident enough they can then start selling the products. Maybe at craft market, start small. I always say start small, because you never know, you don't want to put a lot of capital into something which you don't know your market well. So they also need to get to know who are their market, who do they want to sell to, what is the needs of the market, what are the skincare needs, and so start small, and all the money initially that you make, you put it back into the business to buy more raw materials, to buy some equipment. Maybe later you have enough to invest in some more higher tech equipment, and so you go on, so you progress from small. Start small.
The bottom line is start small.
Yes.
I want us to focus on winding this discussion, and Lois, I was having a side chat with one of the students who attended the conference, and they're like, so yeah, I just want to juxtapose the microalgae food products and the traditional foods.
Yes.
And they're like, do they pose a danger, or actually they are coming to supplement, the variety of foodstuffs that we have in the society? I just want to know your reaction on that.
Look, you've got to be careful about how you grow things, because all food may have some potential toxins in them, but that is rare. So I think they are more of a supplement to traditional food. They've got a lot of antioxidants, a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. They've got a lot of nutrients that we haven't even begun to discover yet, I believe. They've got a lot of synergistic effects for people. In the world at the moment, spirulina is actually sold as a health supplement, but it is a source of, I think, almost 70% protein. So if you think about that in terms of health fanatics or people who are trying to bulk up and gym and whatever, 70% protein is a major amount of protein. I don't think even meat has 70% protein in it. So it's a major powerhouse of protein building, but also a lot of nutrients and a lot of antioxidants, etc. in it.
Wow.
So yeah.
So it's a supplement to even the food that we have.
Absolutely. A lot of people sprinkle, so they use it in smoothies, they sprinkle it on their cereal, on food, stuff like that, the whole spirulina, that is. You can then start fractionating it and getting stuff like ficocyanin out, which is more specific to antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties.
Wow, I think that's quite informative. And Dr. Vost, I want us to wind up this discussion, and maybe we could wind up by demystifying some of the myths that people have when it comes to cosmetic products. And there is a narrative which has been propagated that they are harmful in nature. basically because they are made from chemicals. And I think perhaps from the knowledge that I have acquired from the conference, that is far from the truth. So maybe you can take this opportunity to talk about the status quo, maybe of some of the products that you personally make that I have seen with my own eyes, and many of the cosmetic products in the society.
Yes, certainly. There is definitely a myth out there that anything that is synthetic is bad, and that is far from the truth. So synthetic ingredients are normally highly purified and highly refined, and when they are made to be cosmetic grade, they are safe to use in cosmetics. They don't pose any risk. They are normally hypoallergenic, which means that they don't going to cause any skin irritation or skin rashes. Whereas in contrast, even though natural ingredients are obviously very beneficial because they contain lots of antioxidants and other ingredients that are beneficial to the plants, which we can use in cosmetics. The danger of using of natural ingredients, in some of these ingredients are small molecules which can have allergic reactions with the skin. So in fact, things like essential oils, which are very popular to use in cosmetics, can actually be far more dangerous than something like mineral oil, which is from the petroleum-based industry. So one must always be careful when using natural products to check the supplier's usage guidelines. How much should we put in? What is the maximum dermal limit for the ingredients, especially essential oils. They're very similar to fragrances. So synthetic fragrances and essential oils, which are natural, have similar allergens in them. So essential oils are not necessarily safer to use on the skin than synthetic fragrances.
Wow, I think people have more understanding now, hearing from you say that, and considering the fact that you personally venture on this. And I want us to take a final word, Louise, on this. What is the future of microalgae like? What is the future like? Especially when you say that it is a supplement to food, and it can actually cure food security, especially to the countries who are adversely affected by hunger and famine, and people who do not have enough food security. What is the future of microalgae production like?
Okay. So I think at the moment microalgae production is in great demand all over the world. So the Europeans and the Americans and us Africans are all looking into it to the future. At the moment it's still very expensive to grow, so we need to focus our efforts, and I believe focus our efforts as Africa on reducing the cost of growing algae so that it can be valorized as an African continent and exported to Europe and the Americas, because we have a much more beneficial environment and climate to grow microalgae in. So I believe that it's going to be in the next 20 to 30 years a major player in nutrition and animal feeds in Africa.
Wow, that's a good ending point. what an ending point. And the fact that you're speaking hope even to food production and to cosmetic production, and these avenues even of opportunities for young people, and job opportunities, and people to earn out of what they do in the production department. I must say it was an honor and privilege to just get the insights from you, Louise Hamilton and Dr. Nicole Voster from Nelson Mandela University. The good thing is you've said you'll come back to Kenya next year, and we are looking forward to meeting you again. And maybe even the students from St. Paul's who will want to come to Nelson Mandela University.
Absolutely.
I'm sure when they come and they meet you, they'll be like, I know Dr. Nicole, and I know Louise, and they'll be happy to be in good hands.
Come visit us, yes.
Wow, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure for us to be here.
And thank you so much for agreeing to the interview.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for you watching. Let me know your comments on the comment section. That has been Louise Hamilton and Dr. Nicole Voster from Nelson Mandela University speaking here on Peter Mama Media on yet another broadcast that we equip you to know what are some of the opportunities that we have out here, and they have pointed out that we have so many opportunities in cosmetic production and of course the growth of microalgae in the society. Thank you so much for making this happen, special, and many thanks to the production team, Brian and the team. Thank you so much, and we see you next in our next production. Thank you.